Hi, I'm Carrie.
I'm Jake.
And this is Love You Like Crazy. This is a podcast where we talk and rant about young adult books.
So tell me about this book we're reading today, Carrie.
We are reading a book called Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. It is a book about UNC-Chapel Hill. It is a book about Black girl magic. It is a book about King Arthur. It is all of these things and then some. I love this book. I cannot wait to talk with you about it.
Me too. I really enjoyed this book a lot, and I'm so happy that you read it and you liked it and you said, let's talk about this one. So I know that this is, you recommended this book saying this is a book you loved. So like, what do you love about it?
There are so many things I love about it. I love that it was surprising. I love that it's a history that I both understood and don't at all understand. I have spent a lot of time at UNC and I sort of know a lot of the UNC history, but I don't know the UNC history from the vantage point of a Black woman in her ancestry from the slaves that built the school. I don't understand that. So I was sort of fascinated by like being forced to understand in a new way the history of the place I felt I knew a lot about. And also I just thought that it was a really interesting and well-written story altogether. It was just, this was different and I was surprised by it.
So tell me about Bree.
So Bree is a young woman who grew up in East Jesus Nowhere, North Carolina, and her mom died right after they fought about her getting into this early college program at UNC-Chapel Hill, where her mom had gone. And she thought, my mom's got some shit to say about this place, but once I get in, she'll be cool. And she wasn't cool. And she died right after before she came home from their fight after work. So they never got that resolved. And Bree is really wrestling with that a lot.
Yeah, she's like super sad and angry and guilty.
And really wants to somehow like avenge her mother's death because of the glimmer of magic she saw after the cops told her that her mom was dead.
And Dr. Patricia Hartwood, who is assigned to be her therapist, has some opinions about that.
She's got opinions about a lot of things.
That is true.
But she definitely doesn't want to fuck with white people magic.
No. She says that there are a few different kinds of magic. I think I have the quote someplace.
It's like root magic, blood magic, and something else.
She says, the dead have the most access to root, and supernatural creatures have the next closest connection, but the living must borrow, bargain for, or steal the ability to access and use this energy. So root users like Patricia borrow it from their ancestors, and their ancestors will only give, what they think is appropriate. Whereas blood crafters, well, I was a little confused about it actually, but it seems like the blood crafters are bargaining or stealing from their ancestors. And there's a cost to that. I mean, we see that in a bunch of different ways. But also Patricia thinks that like they have this confrontation where she asks Bree, so why are you doing this? Like, why do you want to know how your mother died? Like, what are you going to do with that knowledge? And Bree's like, I don't know. I'll just feel better with it. And Patricia's like, I really don't know that you will. I kind of feel like this is just your obsession and something that you're focusing on to avoid dealing with other things. And I don't think I can support you on this path. And so she breaks up with her as a therapist, which seems rough.
It does seem rough. I mean, I know why Dr. Patricia did that. But also, like, damn, this girl really needs some help. And you are literally the only person who really understands her.
And really the only person that she can talk to about, I don't know how many other rootcraft practitioners / psychotherapists there are on campus, but I can't imagine there are many.
I would say that the roster on that's pretty small.
And her dad is absent because she went off to UNC and is no longer in the small town they grew up in. But he keeps calling her and leaving her messages and being like kind of pissed off from getting messages from the dean or whatever.
Yeah. Oh my God. I can't imagine that he just didn't immediately drive down, like, instead of, yeah. I would just been like, you fucking kid, you are 16.
Well, she says, first of all, the dean is a racist asshole, and her dad is totally unaware of that. And she says, I knew that he wanted to go to college, but he dropped out. And I wonder if there was a dean in, one of those deans in his past.
That hurts my heart because that's like, that's my career. And I couldn't imagine like me being so awful to somebody that they leave college.
Yeah.
Oh, like that's what I do for my job. I'm not a dean yet, but that's what I do. People are assholes. Anyway.
But Bree manages to kind of come to an epiphany on her own when she finds out that her mother was not murdered, but in fact actually did die from the car accident.
Yeah, I mean, she and her dad, they have a really good talk, and I think she gets some closure. Well, I don't know if she'll ever be, she'll never be fully healed from it. It's a trauma, but I think she's going to be a lot more able to deal with, well, all the other shit that's going to be thrown at her. Like her boyfriend's shitty dad.
Yeah, her boyfriend's shitty dad, my God. Who seems nice at first.
Oh, yeah, like they all do. I don't know, if we go for YA dads, he might be up there with the shittiest.
Yeah.
Okay, it's no, I get it. It's no Shiver.
Well, no, I was trying to think about that. I mean, yeah. No, I mean, I think Shiver is actually, in this one respect and in no other way, a good comparison for this book. Just in terms of a father who's willing to sacrifice his son.
Oh, yeah, that is true. Fuck. I don't know. There's a lot of characters in this book, and I just kind of like, I keep thinking about Selwyn Kane, who is supposed to be like a demon hottie with a demon body. And they've got this like super attraction, but also repulsion. And I'm assuming that the attraction is just because she is King Arthur and that's his friggin' job. So I'm hoping the will they, won't they turns into a, oh God, they definitely can't. But who the fuck knows what happens in book 2?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like my kind of sense at the end of the book, and God knows I'm probably wrong, but is that at the end they're like friends who have an attraction to each other, but I don't know. Obviously there are shippers on the internet for them, but I kind of felt like Selwyn and Bree were friends at the end. Like that was sort of their development, is they grew to sort of respect and like each other as friends, but I didn't feel like either of them particularly wanted to be in a relationship with the other.
I think that they're at that like begrudging respect, understanding stage, but also like Bree did that man a solid. You know how YA books are. I worry about too much shipping when we don't need to ship. I
agree. I'm with you. But I don't know. I'm curious to see how it goes in the next book. I kind of trust the author to, not fuck it up. Right.
Yeah. I think she can't fuck it up. I think she'll be fine. I think it's like, obviously she knows what she's doing because she wrote this fucking book and it's a fucking killer book.
So I don't know. Do you have any other sort of speculations for what might get resolved or what might happen in the next book or in the future books?
I don't even know, because this book was such a surprise to me that like it's hard for me to even speculate what could possibly happen. Okay, so she's King Arthur. She's been called, like, oh shit, what the fuck? Does she somehow like save the world and then disband the order? Who knows?
I mean, a thing that I was kind of thinking about is, like basically one of the big developments in her relationship with Selwyn is when she discovers that, like, at the beginning, he comes across as this arrogant, incredibly powerful, sort of aristocratic white guy. But at a certain point, she realizes that he is, he has little to no freedom. He works for the order who would sacrifice him in a minute. He has taken an oath, which he is, it is impossible for him to break.
Mm-hmm.
And the order has told him lies about his lineage, saying that because he's got Shadowborn ancestry, that he is basically bound to lose control of his powers and to lose his humanity and need to be locked away or executed. And we learn that a lot of that is not true. That his mother was completely in touch with her humanity till the end of her life, and it was in fact Bree's mother's best friend in many ways, or maybe in all ways. And so I wonder if other stuff, like if we will find out that other stuff was also lies. And in particular, the fact that Selwyn can be, part demon and still a good person makes me wonder if we'll find out that not all demons are like kill all humans, but there are demons who
want to coexist peacefully.
Yeah. Or are just not kind of genocidal or homicidal maniacs.
But the demons that we've seen so far, like actual demons, are in fact homicidal maniacs. At least there's only one that we've really met that wasn't, like a lesser form demon, like a hellhound or something, or I forget what the little possum ones are. Isel?
Yeah. She says whenever these words come up, she pretty much says how it's spelled. Or pronounced, rather.
I hope she says how it's spelled.
Yeah, this isn't Flowers for Algernon.
Fuck, no, don't do that to me.
Sorry. Anyway, yeah, no, I mean, all the ones that we meet are kind of cartoonishly evil.
Yeah, and only one of them is human.
Right. And that's the worst one.
He a dick.
That's true. So Dr. Patricia says that these demons are attracted by the Legendborn, which is supported by the fact that, coincidentally, all these gates start opening when the Legendborn start settling the eastern seaboard in the United States. And apparently these portals don't open further west, or if they do, they're dealt with in some other way by non-Legendborn, but we don't hear about that.
Yeah, they are just so happen to be at this particular portal. No reason.
And Nick's dad is opening portals intentionally, but they're also opening on their own. So anyway, whatever. I have no idea, but that was just something I was wondering.
I'm wondering if, because he's opening them on their own, it becomes a hot spot. So it's like, oh, here's a weakness. Fuck if I know. It's late.
I mean, these are themes that seem important in this book, but aren't explored all that deeply in this book. So
yeah, I guess I'm going with his dark materials theory. You use the subtle knife and you cut these holes between worlds, and some of them you don't close and shit can get in there. And then you've got angels that killed children.
Precisely.
Precisely, Carrie. Just you keep babbling.
She's gonna rescue Nick, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the second point of business here. First point of business is, become King Arthur, Excalibur, etc.
And kind of come to a reckoning with him, because he wants, he's very powerful. He, it doesn't seem like he dislikes her or anything, but clearly they have different opinions about a lot of things. Him being, 1,000-year-old ghost or whatever. And her grandma is also possessing her.
Occasionally, but not always. Sometimes she takes a nap.
Yeah, sounds crowded.
I know. God, a lot of stuff happens in this book.
So this is like not super important. But am curious, like maybe you figured this out. So the Equal or whatever, however it's pronounced, the demon that pretends to be a human was Evan, right?
Yes.
Do we know when that has it been Evan all along as far as Bree has known him, or what was he taken over at some point?
I don't know. I'm assuming it was probably him the whole time, because otherwise, like, what happened to Evan? But maybe we'll find out what happened to Evan.
I think he says that he took the oath as a demon, and I think that happened 1 or 2 years ago. So
he's just been a demon, like going to college, learning human stuff.
Yeah, he complains that Evan played the banjo, and so he had to learn how to play the banjo, and not an easy task.
I mean, he's a demon. It shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah. Seemed a little whiny.
Sell your soul to play the... Anyway.
That's right. Meet at the crossroads. He's a crossroads guy.
Exactly. So anyway, of all the people in the order, do you have a favorite?
Well, yes, obviously. I don't even have to tell you who it is.
No, I want to know.
William.
Of course it's William. I love William so much. He is the best.
Yeah, he's the healer. Let's see, Sir Gawain or Gawain is his ancestor. So he can heal. He's also super strong at midnight and noon, which is a little too specific to always be useful, but
it's super specific. But you know what? Whatever.
He's also like super handy, like to have around, Yeah,
he's just a good guy. I like him.
Like I kind of appreciate that part of Nick's father's plan is just like, and then if I get beaten up by a demon, William will just heal me and it'll be fine. So I'm not really going to worry about that.
And he's not wrong. He's going to be healed.
He breaks his back in 2 places at one point and he's fine.
Yeah.
And he's also like super understanding and kind.
Yeah. He's like the guy that will just like, he tells Bree a lot of stuff. He's like, oh shit, you don't know anything. Like, you really don't know anything. Okay, girl, let's close the door. Let's lock the door. Let's talk. We need to fill you in on what the fuck is happening. Like, he's the only one who'll do this though. Cause I mean, I know that she can't really trust anybody else to like talk to them about what she does and doesn't know, but he's just a good guy. I love him so much.
Right. I mean, I think that the book intentionally, like Nick definitely wants to be in control and kind of thinks of him like at one point, somebody, is it Victoria or somebody or other, like talks about, this is our most diverse class of pages ever. And Bree is not super pleased about that. And at some point
he's like, yeah, one of us is brown. And one of us is non-binary.
Sarah's half Venezuelan.
And that's about it.
And also none of this has anything to do with like anybody intentionally recruiting, like I was thinking recently about, Republicans who talk about how like this country can't be racist. We had a black president. And it's kind of like, yeah. And did you vote for him? If not, then maybe don't take so much credit for that.
Yeah, and how did you treat him when he was in office?
So Bree is like, I don't know that she even actually says anything to Nick or gives him a look or what, but he is.
I think it was more of a look.
Yeah, and he's like, look, if anyone is at all inappropriate, just come to me and I'll take care of it. And she's like, yeah, you have no idea how this works. And so he wants to protect her, but he is also like, there are a couple of fights where he does sort of fight for her. He usually ends up getting super hurt and unconscious at the end of those. And in general, he's not, he just doesn't accomplish a whole lot in that way. And I think, it's a tribute to how it's written that you don't think, oh, this guy is useless, but he's just not ultimately that effective as a hero.
He thinks he's a lot more powerful and a lot more. I can't even word right now, but he thinks he's more special than he really is because, he isn't.
Right.
He is just Lancelot.
Yeah.
Just Lancelot.
Yeah. I guess that is the plot of the book.
Piece of shit.
Yeah. He thinks he's a hero, but he's, he is a hero. Lancelot isn't.
He is a hero. He's fine. He's still up there, but he's not King Arthur.
Whereas William is just super useful and super nice and very understanding. And
he's not trying to bullshit anybody. He's just like, this is my job and I'm good at it. Fuck all y'all.
He's also the only person who can sort of go head to head with Sal, and Sal will back down.
Yeah. Well, because you you can't, you don't fuck with the man who can heal you, especially if he fights you at noon.
And a thing that I was sort of looking at when I was kind of reading through today is when he goes through that thing where he sort of info dumps Bree and is like, okay, so here's all the lineages, here's how it all works, etc. One thing he doesn't mention is that once you've been called by your ancestral spirit, it takes a lot out of you, and you usually don't live after 35. And I feel like one of the reasons he doesn't say that is because he's been called, right? That's how come he has healing powers. And he doesn't want to have that discussion.
But BT Dubs, I am dying.
Yeah.
He's such a good guy. I just love him.
And I like the therapist.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that I like Alice, her best friend, who's just fucking get a grip, girl. Get it together. You're not going to class. When I was reading the book for the second time, I was like, how much does she actually go to class? Oh, hardly ever. So every time she's going to class or coming from a class or being in a class, I'm sort of surprised. So how is she even making it through? She's not doing a great job of making it through, but no one's kicked her out yet. That's a good start.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the events of this book, it's a pretty short period of time.
It's all before winter break.
But I agree. Alice is great.
I can see why there's not more Alice, but I wish there were more Alice.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of Alice in the next book.
What do you think is going to happen with Alice in the next book? You think, how is she going to be involved?
Well, doesn't Bree say that she's her vassal or something?
Mm. So what does that mean?
Fuck, Carrie, I don't remember. But
basically her helper.
Yeah, but it's not like a pay. There are different kinds of things that I don't remember how they all work anymore. But
yeah.
So, but maybe she'll become her page or something like that.
Yeah, the vassal can be a page. It's you're magic adjacent.
Yeah.
I like Greer too. They're just nice for the most part. And the only other othered person in the group that they can at least give each other the look occasionally. The can you get a load of these motherfuckers look.
Right. Which is not to say there is a scene where Bree is preparing for some event and her friends her friends in the order are kind of helping her out and advising her, and they're talking about her hair, and then they just sort of casually reach over and grab her hair, and she's like, fuck off, don't ever do that. And they're apologetic and everything, but yeah, Greer, that incident aside, Greer is super cool and Bree's best friend in the order. Oh, so I wanted to ask you about this. So I think both of us in general, our opinion about a lot of YA books is that we wish people used their words more and communicated clearly.
Yes.
So there are a lot of secrets in this book, but I'll put my cards on the table. I felt like it was sort of motivated and handled better than in a lot of books, even books I like. But I don't know. How did you feel about it?
Well, I think, a lot of it was about her learning to open up and talk to people. So it's a lot of people who are keeping a lot of secrets, and they're finding out that when they do communicate that things get easier. She finds out Cell's secret. She talks to her dad. She has really intense conversations with her ancestors and with her therapist. And she finally starts to talk, and look, it's not that things are not challenging, but now she has a team.
Yeah. And I feel like one of the reasons why I felt like it worked better here than in a lot of books is in a lot of books, the reason why people keep secrets is because if they didn't, there wouldn't be a plot, But here, a lot of the book is about like her trauma and her dealing with trauma. And, that's like a prime motivator and a big theme that the book explores. So the motivation for it flows from that rather than it feeling the other way around.
That makes a lot of sense. And I think you're right about that, because then, in other books, you unravel the secret and the plot ends. It's like, oh, there. But here you unravel the secret and there's still more shit that's happening. And now she has tools to deal with it and a team with her. Sort of. I mean, it's still all new. You're still King Arthur and you're now going to die young. So that's great. Unless somehow she's the one who figures out how to make that not happen.
Well, the thing is, like, from her mother, this is something that's talked about in the books. Like, basically, the bargain made by her ancestor was that they would get various powers that would protect them from the Legendborn, essentially, in return for life, basically, that only one person in the line could have the powers at a time. So once someone gets the powers, their mother has to die. And there are several points in the lineage where women died in childbirth. And so that knowledge was just lost. And kind of the loss of that ancestral knowledge is also kind of a big thing that happens in the book. And the fact that she ultimately is able to talk to her ancestors directly is a big part of how she, deals with her trauma productively rather than by lying to everyone,
Mm-hmm.
Another thing, like I feel like Nick's line may turn out to have some demon blood in it.
No shit. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, like, because everyone talks about how he's so attractive. And what else we are told people are always attracted to is incubuses.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. It makes total sense. And I hate that I didn't even think about it. God damn it. That man vexed me.
Yeah.
Didn't suspect him.
Well, I could also be totally wrong about it, but
it makes sense. And I like that.
I do want to say, like, one thing about this book is that, I have this very strong memory of like 2/3 of the way through reading it the first time. I was like, I can see 2 or 3 different ways that this could logically develop and end, and I have no idea which of them it'll be. And it's just kind of rare to have a book that totally, where you're like, this all makes sense and is logical, and I have no idea where it's going.
I loved it. I loved every second of that. And that's what I mean when I say, like, this book surprised me. YA books typically follow a formula and, you go along for the ride, but I didn't even bother guessing what was going to happen because it was bonkers. And, like, in a good way bonkers. I don't mean like meanly bonkers, but like I went for the ride and it was, I didn't know what to expect.
This book is dense and I don't think we could cover everything if we wanted to. This is our second attempt at recording a thing about it.
You're going to have to puzzle this fucker together in some way.
Well, do you want to talk about the UNC of it all?
So there was a statue on campus called Silent Sam. And Silent Sam always looked northward towards, northern aggression. And he was put there by the Sons of the Confederacy. And there's a man named Julian Carr who was at the unveiling of this statue and bragged about how he whipped a girl so much that it like broke her clothes. And well, also that scene is in this book.
Yeah, it sure is.
And so, you know, knowing about the history of that and knowing like this is actually true and she's bringing it to life was really powerful to read. I used to live in Carborough, which was named after Julian Carr. I don't think they're ever going to be able to change the town name, but they really fucking should.
Yeah. I felt like, as you said, like this really sort of brings home in a way that I haven't seen too much before, you know, what it's like to live or go to school or just be in a place that was so clearly not built for you, you know, or people like you.
No, but it's built by you, but you still don't belong there, or you'll never quite feel like you're part of the, you know, your family is part of the history, but not the part of the history that anybody talks about. Hell, their names aren't even known. It's like the university is just so fucking weird. Like it is gorgeous, and I love Carolina, but it glosses over its own history a lot. And I am appreciative of this, you know, both a sort of a loving portrait of the author's alma mater, but also it was not afraid to talk about how it's fucked up and bullshit. That university is fucked up and bullshit.
Right. There's certainly been recent events that have confirmed that.
Mm-hmm.
We are here today demanding justice for Nicole Hannah-Jones. We are here today to stand in solidarity with a Black woman who is more than qualified to receive tenure from her alma mater.
If anybody from my old job happens to be listening to this, which I doubt, I love that place. Y'all know I love Carolina. I fucking cried like a baby when I left, but also super glad to not be in the South anymore because F that place. Love-hate relationship, y'all.
Yeah. So you listened to the audiobook, right?
So I read it first and then I listened to the audiobook second. And I don't know who reads the audiobook, but they do a damn good job.
Yes. So that may be another option for folks. And I want to say, so also it super works on the level of a YA supernatural romance with lots of exciting action. Like you read it and it just totally sucks you in. So 2 thumbs up.
Absolutely 2 thumbs up. Fantastic book. Wholehearted recommendation. Legendborn.
Tracy Deonn.
Your book is phenomenal. Thank you for writing it.
So we haven't picked a book to read next.
No, we haven't. We need to pick a book.
And we can also do another episode of Sabrina, if that's something you're interested in.
I'm always interested in Sabrina. Pardon, I don't mean to yawn at you. That's also a dick move. But my problem with Sabrina is that I can't start watching until like 7:30ish. Which means we watch an episode and then either record immediately afterwards, which is past your bedtime, or we do it the next day, and that would require remembering it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think it's been a while since we've done one of these, but I think in the past we've done like the watch party, and then we've recorded on another day.
And then just take a shit ton of notes. Yeah. I think we can do that. Because, you know, I do like a good watch party.
Yeah. So keep an eye out on Twitter at LoveYAPod for an announcement about watch parties, and you can join if you're interested, or on our Facebook group, our secret Facebook group, Friends of Love You Like Crazy.
Okay, so we will figure out our next book somehow, and cool
Beans. Love you like crazy.
Love you like crazy, and I love this book like crazy too.
Yeah.
Give me a call when you get back. Hey there.
Hey.
LoveYouLikeCrazy.com.
So I talked to Mom the other day. Oh, yeah, yesterday. And she says, so what are you doing on Thursday? And I said, well, me and some friends are watching a reality dating show called F-Boy Island. And she said, do you feel kind of embarrassed about it? And I said, Yeah.
I mean, you should, but also you shouldn't because, damn.
That last episode.
That's some shit.